Okay, so we should be live.
Yay!
And if you are seeing this, I apologize for not like tweeting out that this was happening sooner. I have it in a video that I talk about, but the video is not going to go live until tomorrow.
Oh,
So,
same.
so if you are catching up, um, we are doing like the full thing, go spanning the whole book over on Gabby's channel at the end of the month. I believe it's on the 2nd of November. So, if you guys want to join us for that, we can do
Yes,
that. I don't suspect we will have anybody for this live show because neither one of us talked about it.
that's fine though. It'll be uploaded so they can watch it. It'll be like part one, part two.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to tweet this out really quick. Do you want to hold up the book?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, we are talking about the first 400 pages. And do you want to give us what you think of it so far?
Um, I'm so torn. Um, I actually am really liking it.
Yeah?
Yeah, I do. I do really like it. Right now it's like a 4 out of 5 stars.
All right.
I feel like you don't feel the same.
So, I am enjoying it. It feels long. And so,
Really
the fact that it feels long is like curbing my enjoyment a bit for it.
interesting. Okay.
So, yeah, I just. Hold on, I'm gonna try.
Between the two of us, we're matching. You should go put on red lipstick.
Just to be yin and yang, like the
Yeah.
opposites of it.
Yeah.
I even have the red cover, which is hilarious because somewhere where it is, the Barnes Noble is the red cover.
Yeah.
So I really would have been matching it. Because yours is the black and mine is completely red.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying it. But I think this is a very certain type of fantasy book.
Hmm.
To like you have to be in that certain audience, and I feel like
Agreed.
it's the same audience who enjoys Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss
I
because
haven't read that.
it's I haven't either, but I know what it is, and it's a like old west style fantasy where he's telling his story, and it's like in past tense, and he goes back and
Oh.
forth between
Okay.
present and past tense. Um, so I feel like it's very similar in that aspect, and it just feels a little sloggy for me um, because it feels like I just want to like get to stuff,
Hmm.
and we have to go through all of this. Um, I don't like. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if I could rate it yet.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. So I actually don't think it feels that long. I know it's like a chunky book, but I actually mentioned this in my reading vlog. I feel like the length is justified.
I
Like
agree with you.
like
Yeah.
there's so much going on and he put so much thought or just like if when you read okay, so like what's a book that we've read where we were like there's just too much. Like
A
it could
lot
have
of it.
been yeah, it could have been like a 500-page book that could have been condensed into like 250, 300 pages where we're just like there was no need for all of this like slow yeah. Yeah, that's what I was thinking, Crescent City. Yeah. So, but unlike her other books like A Court of Mist and Fury, and then Empire of Storms and Queen of Shadows. Those are chunky books, but like everything that happens, the story keeps moving. I never felt bored reading it. Um, I always felt like there was a purpose for every scene, and that's what I feel with this book. Um, I don't see myself like saying, well, we could have cut this out, we could have cut this out. Um, Maybe a little bit of like, see, even the banter and like between the historian and Gabe that are talking, even that I feel like I
Oh no,
like too.
that's the like highlights.
Right. So I'm trying to think of like what could we have cut out to make the story shorter. And right now I don't have necessarily anything. Maybe a few sentences here or there during passages, but there's not like a huge scene or huge section where I'm like, that really wasn't necessary. Like we could have cut it out. Everything has, it just flows really well.
So I guess like the reason why I'm not like enthralled with it is it. I think
It's a,
it's the tense of writing that
oh,
I'm
okay.
so used to it being in person. That's how the story is built. That's how it's structured,
Mm-hmm.
and we're building to something, but we are building to something. But I'm missing the like. I don't like jumping around. I like that it would to be continuous, and that part is throwing me a bit. So like every
Yeah.
time they go back to him being in that like cell and him recording his story, I enjoy the chemistry that those characters have on page, but it pulls me out of the story. And then
Mm.
going back in, it like feels like wading through mud, going
Yeah.
back into the story of it. So I don't love
Fair.
that. It like slows me down every time. I enjoy when we're in the story.
It's because it's like you have to get back into that the groove of reading. Like it's like
Yeah,
it's like when we had to read all of the footnotes in Nevernight. That's why I much preferred to listen to it because there's no break. Like your eyes don't have to go to the bottom of the page and read and then go back up.
yeah, definitely. And I think like also when like going back into the story, I'm like, okay, where are we? What's the age range? What like
Yeah.
where are we in the book type of thing? Like the location that he's talking about, and I
Hmm.
have to like refresh my brain on all of those little details. Whereas I don't actively think about it when I'm reading it, but
Yeah.
when we jump back and forth in between, that's what like slows me down, and I don't enjoy that as much.
Yeah, definitely. I can understand that. Also, um, I noticed that when I switched from listening to physically reading it, it went by so much. It was smoother of a transition. Um, I didn't feel as confused. Well, not confused, but like you said, I didn't have to like I knew, oh, he's 33 right now. Oh, we're back and he's 15, 16. Like, oh, now he's 35. Like it was easier for me to follow along better when I switched to physically reading it versus listening to it.
Yeah, I agree. When I was just trying to just listen to it, I was falling out of the story. I wasn't able to like pay attention. So
Yeah,
definitely following along while I'm listening to it is a much more enjoyable experience than just trying to physically read it.
yeah. Listening to high fantasy is hard for me for some reason. I have to physically read it, or I can listen to it if it's a reread.
Yeah.
But when it comes to epic adult fantasy, I really need to physically read it.
Was there anything that you were surprised about when you like going through it so far? Like just the style of it?
Yeah, it seems a little preachy.
Yes, that was one of my notes. Was this was way more religious than I was expecting it to be, and there's so many nods to religion.
Yeah,
Um,
and I can't tell, so I don't know. I mean, I don't
like
know
the
much
author's
about,
background.
yeah, I don't know if he's religious or if he's not or what he classifies. I have no idea. So I don't know if they are chastising religion or if they are preaching. Like I can't tell if it's pro or con because there's some sections where I'm like, oh, that's like definitely so like from Gabe's perspective, he's against religion and he's constantly telling the priest like, oh, where's your God now? Like, you know, but then you get like all of these other characters like Chloe, who's phenomenal, who is very a believer is what he calls her. So I can't tell which side we're on. Um, so
Do
I
you
don't
think
know.
him telling the story, what do you think his opinion is on religion as him telling the story like present day?
I'm getting more of a like not satire, but I'm getting more of a against religion vibe
I think
versus pro. Well, not pro or against, but I'm getting more
like
of
believer,
a
non-believer.
yeah, I'm getting more of like this is not a well, it's not a religious book. Like this is absolutely like um I don't think it's yeah, I don't think it's religious. It's also not for children.
Oh my gosh, yeah, no, definitely not. But I definitely think that he went through a journey with his like religion, how he views religion for this whole thing, and it makes me think like, especially where we're at right now, I wonder what's gonna happen that makes him be so against, because he definitely was like, believers are the most dangerous. So I'm like, okay, so what's gonna happen with the believers that make them dangerous?
Yeah, and they mentioned that he's the last silver saint, so I'm assuming something bad is going to happen. Like the monastery gets blown up. I don't know. They get attacked. Um, so yeah, it's very interesting. Especially like I'm curious of what happened in between because when we get him as a child, he's a believer, and now as an adult, he's not. Wait, are we talking about the author or the character?
The character.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I was really surprised at how religious it was, um, going into it, and I wasn't expecting a book about vampires to be so religious, but I guess it
Well,
makes sense.
it does. And I mean, if you think about it, like we mentioned how there's a lot of similarities to Vampire Academy. I mean, they go to mass in Vampire Academy and they do talk about religion. It's not as heavy as this, but
Oh
it
yeah, no.
definitely, like the religious aspect is there, when it with Vampire Academy. So, um,
But very briefly compared to this, like I
oh
feel
yeah,
like here versus here, like huge difference.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Um, but yeah, that kind of took me off guard. I didn't think it was going to be so preachy.
Yeah. Another similarity that I caught is it's. I mean, you could tell that this is the same writer that wrote Nevernight because it's the exact same
Oh,
style.
yeah, and there's a lot of religion in Nevernight. A lot of religion.
A lot of religion in Nevernight, but also it's. I mean, you start off the Nevernight series by saying this is her story, and she's gonna die basically.
Yeah.
So it's very similar to that of this is his story. Like it feels very the same thing, except I feel like Nevernight was done differently because it, that story was told to the reader versus this story is told to someone else in this book, and that's it's so interesting that it's that small little factor that can really change like a whole dynamic of the book.
Yeah, I agree. Sorry, I'm bringing you closer. Yeah. And so I I'm curious if time is going to catch up, but I don't see it happening because we're already halfway through the book. So I'm curious if the ending, so I'm
It
curious if
better
at what
catch up. I want to know how he got caught. Like,
no, no, I mean like does it catch up and then we see what happens later on? Like I'm assuming, or is it going to be
oh,
probably in another book? I'm assuming this is going to be a series.
gotcha. Like
Book
moving
one.
forward.
Yeah, this is book one. It says.
Oh God. So how long is this gonna friggin' be?
So what I'm curious is like, is the catching up going to be in this book or is it going to be in another book where we like catch up to where he's at? Does he escape? Does he die? Um,
I
what
could see the
happens?
dynamics of it being like catching up to the story, and he's telling this whole story to stall for something, and then something
Interesting.
happens in the present, and that's where it's gonna like leave off, like on a cliffhanger.
Oh, that would be good. That would be really good.
I would be way more invested in the story if I knew that's where it was going.
Yeah, if it like starts to, well, I mean, eventually it'll start to catch up and that's where it's going to get really good. But once again, we're already halfway through the book and we're still like, there's so many missing pieces.
Do you think that the vampire that is interviewing him is like, what do you think the motives are here that he's like
I know.
recording the story?
I So like, is he morally gray on the good side or morally gray on the bad side?
Like, why is he captured? Like, why? How did he get captured? What's the like plan for him? Like, are they planning on killing him? Are they planning on drinking from him? Like, what? Why are they recording his story? Because I feel like you record someone's story to have that information because something is going to happen to that person.
I think they're gonna kill him because he killed the main, like the king of the vampires. Yeah, the Forever King. I don't know, but I'm curious if the guy that's recording or the vampire that's recording, if he's gonna like let him go or because they're starting to like become
They've
the
got a
ban
good banter.
the banter is turning more from fully hate, like full on hatred, to more like a little bit of teasing. I don't know. Like they still hate each other, but they're still like the hatred is like dying down a little. So I'm curious if like they're gonna see each other's perspective.
So the like when you told me that you were like kind of shipping them, I was like, okay, one, I'm on board because that's the only character that he has any type of chemistry with. Like even all of the girls that he's like sleeping with in this book, no chemistry. Like I don't feel any chemistry between him and any other like character really on this in this book. The Colossus was like I felt that he actually felt something towards his sister when he was like getting his letter from his sister, and I
Oh,
could feel the like that meant something, but like everybody else, they feel like three steps removed, except for the guy that he's like being interviewed by.
hmm,
He actually has chemistry there, and so I definitely like have that in my brain now when I was like reading it. And there was a point in the book where he was like, "Oh, you're not my type," and like the vampire like smirked at him, and I was like,
I know.
"Is this proof? Is this where this is going?"
I read something about. I was reading a review. I don't know if it's in here, but they were saying, what's the word? The romance. Oh, Forbidden Love, a story of legendary battles and forbidden love. So that's where I'm like, that's why I was like, it's on the synopsis. It says forbidden love. So it says, imprisoned by the very monster he vowed to destroy, the last Silver Saint is forced to tell a story of legendary battles, forbidden love, faith lost, and friendships won, of the wars of the blood and the forever king, and the quest for humanity's last remaining hope. So that's why I'm kind of like, huh. That's why when I saw Forbidden Love, I was like, oh, he falls in love with a vampire.
But it sounds like he's talking about his forbidden love, not him.
Yeah, I know. So I was a little sad when he told Chloe that he was married to Astrid because I really shipped him and the other guy. I was very
But
much like,
again, I feel no chemistry. Like, yeah, like you
yeah,
think that she would be more a part of the story if she like mattered that much. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
he's the one telling the story, so whoever you're focused on, like you know, whoever's important to you is going to come up to with in your own story way more than
Yeah.
you are telling it, and we've hardly heard much about
Wait,
her.
do you think she's dead?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think the the wife and the child are dead, and he's alone.
Okay. So when he talks, because it's been 2 years, I think it's 2 years between him meeting Chloe and then getting imprisoned. I think it's a 2 year gap. So within that 2 years, I'm assuming they get killed.
I think she's already dead, and that's why he's not rushing home.
Oh, no, because he says she's alive.
I I think it's like one of those things where
He
even if
lied.
your spouse is dead, you still feel married, so you're still saying you're married.
Okay, because Chloe asks where's Astrid, and he said she's home. So,
It could be in a religious aspect, like she's home, she's with,
mm,
or
okay,
not. I don't know.
interesting. I'm assuming the second half of the book is going to be all about him and Astrid. Obviously, something happens. Chloe said something about like what they did to you guys.
You think that or she is a vampire? See, I also like I've
Mm,
been waiting for someone close to him to challenge his like morals for him basically being a vampire hunter and then a vampire like being turned.
interesting. But they can't decide who they turn,
Yeah.
which I found very interesting.
I really like that aspect. Like, and I also thought it was an interesting twist. And maybe I just haven't read anything by this, but I like the twist of depending on how quickly they turn is like turns you into that type of vampire. So if they
Yeah,
turn quickly, they're like high royal, and I thought that was really interesting. Or like if they're take days and they're half dead, they're basically like zombies.
yeah, I like that too. I thought it was an interesting plot. Um, there's so many characters to get through. Oh my gosh. Like, who's your favorite character so far?
Mm,
I have to say, Saoirse and her lion, Phoebe, are quite spectacular.
they are very cool, but I haven't seen enough of them to
Right.
really like count as my favorite.
Hmm. I do really like them, though. I'm hoping we get a lot more of this group.
Oh, sorry. I just remembered something else that was very similar to Nevernight. The fact that the blade, like the singer, the blade talks to him is very similar to in Nevernight, the Shadow Cat.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. You're right.
There's a lot of parallelism between these two stories. And
Yeah,
I'm wondering if he did that on purpose or if that's just what he likes to write. Um,
yeah. I wonder, is it like, but is the sword really talking to him, or is he going crazy?
I think it's really talking to him.
You think it's really talking?
Yeah, because I think it's like magical. Because the guy who like forged it was like, oh yeah, I made this specifically for a reason, but I just didn't know the reason, and now you are the reason, type of thing. Like it was like significant.
Got it. Do we know? Wait, who gave him the sword? Do we know that yet, or was it
It was
the?
when he first got to the school.
Is
He
it the?
walked in
It's
and saw it.
oh, it's the same sword. I thought it was a different sword because I thought the sword he got when he first arrived, he named it Lion Claw, and then this sword that talks to him is Ash something. Am I wrong?
Maybe it is a second.
I thought it was a second. I could be totally wrong. Isn't it funny how like two people can read the exact same book and we're just like, wait a second, what?
Well, also this book is huge and there's a ton of
It
details.
is
You may be right because I do remember it being called Blood Claw. No, Blood Claw,
Lion Claw.
Lion Claw. Yeah, and then this one is Ash. But they
Yes.
also called this one also like like the singer. So I just thought it was another name for it.
No, I think it's a different blade.
So is Ash and the singer that's the same one though? Or
Yes,
just refers to it by two different names.
I think so. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Um, before we hop off this, um, oh, hi Hannah.
Oh,
Yeah. Um, yeah. If you are planning on reading and you haven't read it, thank you for stopping in. But I don't want you to be spoiled because we are going to go into some spoiler bits, particularly right now.
yes. Also, it's not for the faint of heart.
Oh yeah. Also,
So,
if you do read it, we are November 2nd. We are doing for the whole book, so come back and join us for that
yes,
one.
but it's definitely not for the faint of heart. It's gory, it's graphic, there's nudity.
Oh my gosh, yeah. But the illustrations in here are
Oh my
really
gosh,
gorgeous.
they're gorgeous. They're amazing. I really like the that aspect of it.
Yeah.
It really adds for such cool um
Especially because he's drawing it.
yeah,
Like while so it feels like we get to see the drawing. Yeah. We get to
yeah.
see the drawings and stuff.
Which is why you would have missed it if you're listening to the audiobook.
Thanks,
Yay!
Accepted.
Thanks, Hannah.
Um so super spoiler bits. So leave
Okay.
now if you haven't gotten there. Two things. Like obviously we've got to talk about the big twist that's happened.
Yes.
But what did you think about the twist of him being a different race?
Oh, I so
Like, what do you think that means? Do you think he's the only one? Because they were like, oh, we should just kill him. And, like, why are we killing him? Like,
right. Okay. So I wasn't as surprised because I was like, well, this is obvious the chosen one trope, which is like every book has a chosen main character. The main character is always the chosen one.
yeah,
So I mean that's a typical trope. You can't really get away from that. But I do like that he has to work really hard to be where he's at. It's not like he's the chosen one and he's automatically can defeat all these
ordinary.
things.
Yeah.
Exactly. He constantly says how he works very, very hard and he trains really hard. So, but when they were like, oh, he's nothing special, he's just a frail blood, frail or fail, frail,
Frail. Yeah.
frail blood, I was like, no, no, no. There's more to the story. There's more to the story because once again, he is the chosen one, and the chosen one has to have something special.
I
So,
definitely was buying along with everything. And I was like, okay. Like,
really, okay,
yeah. Because I just
yeah,
thought that he would be, like, a regular that can, like, outbeat everybody because he worked hard. I wasn't expecting there was, like, a twist that would make him special. I thought that's what would make him special is that he wasn't special.
interesting. Yeah, I just I was pleasantly surprised, but I was like, oh, okay, this makes sense, kind of thing. Like I saw it coming, but I didn't see it coming.
So, like,
So
what do you
yeah.
think has happened with the other ones that signify the fact that he can like leave scorch marks on people? Like, what does that mean? Why is that so dangerous?
Well, it sounds like he can basically boil blood.
But why is that dangerous? Because I mean,
I have
they
no
were like, well,
idea.
if that's what he is, we should just kill him now. Because it sounds like there's like they said something about like they killed them all off, or they thought they killed them all off.
Yeah, like the race was supposed to be extinct.
Yeah. So why? Like, what? You know what I mean? Like,
Maybe they think he can become too dangerous. But like that's the point. Like they're training them to be dangerous.
right, and how is he more dangerous than any of the other ones? Like the Voss can like fuck some shit up. So it's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
why is that so
They're the
dangerous?
ones that can do mind control, right?
Yeah. No, yeah, the Vosses, the ones that are super like can tear them apart, I think. I actually tabbed it in
No,
here.
I think that's
Caprices.
the Daikon. I think they're the strong ones.
Either way, they're all super powerful.
Yeah. So the Divok, because I do remember the Divok is the ones that are like built like bears, because their shield is the bear.
Yes, the Untamed.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
So um, one of them is they're super strong. One of them is, oh, I
Yeah.
forget what they can do. You said
So
you
it's
tabbed it?
yeah. Elon is the Whispers, a line more dangerous than a sackful of syphilic serpents. All vampires can bend the weak-hearted to their will. Um, Divok
So
is the strength one. There's also the one with that can control animals.
Chastain.
Yeah,
That's it. Okay. So
vampires.
that's right. So the Eilon are the ones that control emotions. The Voss are the ones that actually can manipulate your mind.
No,
The di
no. That's the Whispers.
Wait, oh, okay, so what's the Voss? They're just like all power?
Yeah, the Iron Hearts. They have flesh akin to steel. It can turn aside silver. The eldest among them can even withstand the fury of the flame.
Okay. So they're hard to kill.
Oh, but far more sobering is their ability to read the minds of weaker men. So they can read minds, but the other race can. Um,
Manipulate
yes,
emotions. Right. Because Aaron, his the other initiate, he is an Eilon.
yeah,
Correct. Yeah, because and he um
because he's the one who like used it against him at that one moment and made him like get down on his knees and like beat the
mhm.
crap out of him.
Yeah.
I
Which
really
do
liked
we
the scene where they tested him in
oh
the
like the
barn when they were
in,
trying to figure out what type of vampire he was, and they were testing him. I really liked that scene.
like in the trial?
Yeah, where they had like all of the wolves come at him and things, and they're like, tell him to stop with your brain and things like that, and like,
Yeah.
yeah, I really liked that whole scene. That was
That
really
was a
good.
good scene. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um I really like the scenes in the library between Astrid, him, and Chloe. The banter Astrid is amazing. I agree. I don't necessarily see the chemistry between the two of them yet, but she's probably on the way to being my favorite character. Her like won't take crap from anyone. I really like that.
and her
I
line of like, "I'm the queen," like,
Yes, I'm not a princess. I'm the queen.
yeah,
And then also I love. Oh, I should have tabbed it. Oh, but um, I love the line where she's like, young Chloe here needs to learn that just because she has breasts, however nice they are,
yes, they're not
does
going to
it.
impede her from fighting or yeah, swinging a sword. Yes, that was such a good part.
I love that. And she's like, quiet love. Yeah.
Because she was like, actually, it does make it more difficult. You're missing the point.
I love that. So it is hard to like, oh, here it is. Oh, it's so funny. I want to find it. I want to find it.
While you're finding this, who's the one that keeps like sneaking into his room at night?
I don't know. It's a dream.
So I'm like, did I miss something? Like, am I just not paying attention to the like who the hell is this person supposed to be with like the black claws and like that he? I assume is a vampire because
I think so. Yeah.
he has to like say come in every time it happens. So I felt like that was a vampire coming in. But that part is eluding me right now. And I'm trying to figure out like and it's only like a page where that happens. And then it like goes on for chapters and then another
Yeah.
page happens. And it's like, what is happening here? Or is
I,
that in his brain? Like
I think it's a dream. Or maybe there's a vampire like controlling his mind.
yeah.
I found it. It's on page 256. So when she says that Chloe would like to learn the art of the blade, Gabe says, but she's a girl. Astrid looked at the little lass beside her, leaning in close to squint at Chloe's chest. My God, you're right. I told you this was a foolish idea, Chloe hissed. They don't teach girls here. Patience, ma chérie, Astrid murmured. Our good initiate would eventually figure out that your breasts, whilst magnificent, aren't any real impediment to your combat prowess.
Yes.
They actually do get in the way. Hush now, love.
Such a good scene.
I love that.
I also like that he is. Um, I think you're right. Like she's probably on my way to my favorite character. Um, I like that we get to see like the training of that too, and that she came to him and was, instead of being like, "Oh, be safe" or whatever, she was like, "You better come back because you owe me like
Hmm.
to keep training." Like I liked that we got to see like care and concern from a different point of view.
Yeah, I do really like that as well. I also like that I like that Chloe's like he's like, "Well, you're a nun." And she's like, "Well, I still need to learn to fight. Like there's a war going on." Which I totally agree. I think that's so dumb. Like the whole it's in a lot of books, like it's very big in like ACOTAR where like women warriors aren't allowed to be or women aren't allowed to be trained to fight, and then like the main characters are like overcoming that
Yes.
um uh, sexism.
Yes. And like I like that he acknowledges in the book too, being like, "Oh yeah, like this small frail thing, a sword would cut through her so quickly. Like she would need to learn." And I like that there was that acknowledgement of, "Oh yeah, this is she needs to have something." So
Yeah.
I really
Hmm.
like that part too. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, I did find it really interesting that Astrid is royalty.
Mm,
Like I thought that was an interesting twist, and we don't I'm curious to see where that's going to go. Because I'm assuming that everything is happening for a reason right now. I mean, this isn't the first book he's written, and so far everything is kind of important. So,
everything is very intentional. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So I'm wondering, but I was very shocked by that. I was like, I figured that there's something going on with her because, like, she obviously doesn't want to be there, versus some of like Chloe does want to be at the monastery. Like, she wants to be a nun. And Astrid is basically being kept hostage. I just didn't think like royalty was the.
I wonder if she's being hidden there because people
She
went to
is
look for her like at a nunnery. So I wonder if there's a
interesting.
bigger picture happening that she needed to be hidden
Oh.
at the nunnery.
Maybe she's like the chosen one. Plot twist.
So
Um,
speaking of plot
the
twists, do
and the
you want?
chosen one.
Yeah. So the fact that the cup is not a cup and the cup is a boy.
I love it. I do. I think it is phenomenal. So I actually the entire time assumed that he was the same blood race as Gabe because he's
Okay.
very pale, white hair. So I was like, why is no one noticing that he is a um, half vampire? Like, why does no one see that? And no one seemed to have noticed that. And then he like killed all of the cold bloods. I was like, oh my god, he does the same thing. I didn't realize that it's different. But I was like, see, look, I knew it. I knew it. Um, but yeah, I was further way off.
I am not surprised by the twist. I didn't call it, but I'm not surprised by it. Like it makes sense. I didn't think that he was like leading them to somewhere or anything like that, like to find the cup. Uh, I thought there was something weird going on with him. Like he
I th-
definitely raised my hackles of like, what?
I thought he had it all along. I didn't think I thought it was like etched in his coat or something because he kept saying my coat's magic. And so I thought like, okay, something's going on. Maybe the metal was like melted down and it was like in the lining of the coat. Um, uh, but I didn't realize that it's like his blood is a way to
Like
defeat.
holy blood.
Yeah, exactly.
So, wouldn't this may be a very dumb comment. Wouldn't you want to have just like a crap ton of babies to like spread out the blood so you have more force to fight, or do you think it's concentrated and that's why it's working?
Well, so they mentioned that like his entire race or like his lineage were killed because they were considered blasphemy to the church. So I don't think they can right now. I think he's the only living heir, I think is what they said.
Right? So why you wouldn't have just a ton of sex and
I guess he's 14.
I know, but what's the
He's
rules in this fantasy? Like,
well, I mean, it would seem weird for a I don't know. I guess one girl wants to I guess I don't know. Well, Saoirse apparently wants to be with him.
yeah,
Um I have no idea. That's an interesting. My thought was like, why aren't they like having him prick his finger and like everyone carries a little like he could
yeah,
give a little bit of blood here and there. Like we should be his blood is like a healing potion. Why doesn't everyone just carry one with him? Or does it have
right.
to be fresh? Does it have to be fresh?
That's a good. Yeah, I guess we'll find out because I'm sure that he's something is going to happen to him. Obviously,
Yeah.
along the way, if he's the last Silver Saint. So,
Hmm. I also really like the singer, the flute player,
mm,
because it was like, "Shut up, shut up." Chloe's always like, "Blasphemy." I like him. I feel like he adds a comedic relief. I I kind of think that the priest is gonna double cross them. Frere, whatever his name is. You don't think so? Because he's so dead set on going to Saint Guillaume and not, or is
yeah,
it?
but he sees the boy as his god. Do you really think a priest is going
That's
to
true.
go against his literal god in the
Okay,
flesh?
you're right. Maybe that's a stretch. That's stretching.
I did really like that scene where he's like, "You keep asking where my god is at. He's right over there." I like really liked that
I
entire
did
part of
too.
it.
I did too. San. It's San Guillaume, not Saint. San. And they're going to. I forgot. San. Is it Michon? Michon. Yeah.
I feel like the boy is going to mess up somehow. And
Yeah.
you can't be mad at him because he's your savior.
I think he
So, so
dies.
then
I
you
think
have
a
to go
lot of
along
people
with.
die.
Oh yeah, I think everybody dies. But I think he's gonna be the one that's gonna go off book, and they can't really do anything about it, and they can't ditch him because they need him. So he's basically gonna like do what he wants because he knows that he's like essential.
Yeah. I mean,
And he
so
already lives kind of like fearlessly anyway, and he's like, you should really be more protective of yourself if you're as powerful as you say you are. Like,
yeah, I agree. Who do you think survives? Like someone no, I mean the whole book like not you think everyone dies?
I think this is being taken place like years and years forward.
Oh, so when it finally catches up to the present, everyone's dead except for him and he's about to die.
Yep.
Okay. Okay.
I
Fair.
think like because of the
Well, then
different
we're not going to have another book.
no. I think he's gonna be like alive, but I think it's gonna be. I don't know. I don't know because I could see like him being like something with his nature of like the fact that he is like a part like he's pretty much a dog here. Um,
Yes.
that he lives like outlives everybody, either because they die in
Mm.
battle or because he ages and heals slower and things like that. So I just assumed that everybody had aged out, type of thing,
Yeah.
and he pretty much has stayed the same age. I don't
I
know
like
how that would tie in with the second book, though.
I like want to go to the end.
No, you do not spoil it for yourself. Don't do it.
Oh, I kind of hope Celine makes a appearance. She seems like she could be really badass. His sister.
Yeah, yeah, and I think we would finally get to see like real chemistry on the page in like the past, I guess.
Yeah.
Um, besides him and Jean.
Jean Francois.
Yeah,
Is that it?
yeah, I think
Yeah.
so.
See, that was another reason why I had trouble like listening because I was like, uh, I was like cringing at like some of the words they were saying or the narrator was saying, which is not the narrator's fault. Like, I'm sure the narrator doesn't speak French. So I was like a little cringy at like some of the words. And I'm just like, oh,
If
it
you
was.
guys don't know, Gabby speaks French, so she's gonna be extra harsh.
Well, I was just like, come on, just like try a little bit.
Is there anything else that you want to address before we hop off here? We went a little longer than we normally do for these.
Yeah. Okay. What is your theory? How do you think that the boy is going to be able to save everybody? Like, are they supposed to like recite something? Is there like witches involved? Because Saoirse mentioned she might be witch, like like she is a witch or she is a descendant from. I'm not sure. Is she a witch?
I don't know if it fully confirms that or not, but it definitely alludes to it.
Right. So I'm very, which I think we should bring witches in. That would just be phenomenal.
Yes, I agree.
Um, but I'm curious on how he is supposed to save the world, like in this cold blood. Is it just his blood? It's like they just go around, like they make it sound like it's like he can basically do like a Armageddon type of
Yeah. Here's
thing.
my like way out of left field prediction that I think would be cool if this would be how he did
Yeah.
it. I don't think this is what's going to happen, but I think this would be cool if you were able to say dip the ash sword in his blood and you kill a vampire and all of his descendants then are dead.
Oh, interesting. I like
I
that.
don't think it's going to happen, but I think that would be cool.
No, but isn't that in Vampire Academy? What book is it where if you kill oh
Vampire Diaries?
yes.
Yeah. So that would be cool if
If
they
you
like pulled a
kill
dot off of there.
yeah, whichever vampire you kill, whoever sired you, the lineage dies.
Yeah. But now I'm like, I don't know. Like, I don't think he's gonna do that because I think that's too close to other stories. But also, it's like lore, so maybe I don't know. What do you
I
think?
like it. I'm thinking they're gonna do some like ritual witchy thing.
Yeah, but
Um,
how would that?
I don't know. I really don't know. Or like find a way to reverse the sun thing, like them being able to come out in the sunlight, which I hope that gets explained. Has that gotten
Okay,
explained?
no.
Like why they can come out into the sunlight? They just called it days dead,
Yeah,
days something.
yeah.
Come on. Days death is what they call it. Um so I'm curious. I would like that to be
Maybe a
explained.
ritual had went wrong, and that now allowed them to come out during the day. So it's that like a ritual went wrong with the guy, like with the boy, and now they can come out because the ritual.
No,
Like,
because the boy wasn't born yet. Because he's only 14. And it's been
oh, right.
27 years so far.
Yes.
So, because they mentioned that when they saw the shooting star is when he was born. The day they saw the
Yeah.
shooting star is the day he was born, and they had already, like, that had already happened.
Yeah. Because the day's death happened when he was younger.
Yeah, Gabe was 11.
Yeah, before he got picked up by them, right?
He got picked up by them. So, Day's death was when he was at 11. I went back and I, like, went back
Mapped
and
it
took
out.
notes. Yes. So, he was 11 when the sun thing happened, when they can come out of the sun. He was 13 when his sister turned and he killed her. He was 15 when he
Yeah.
got taken to the monastery. Then he was, it sounds like at 20, he married Astrid because she says that he said he'd been married, they'd been married 11 years when he's 33. Um, so I'm thinking, yeah, he was 21 around there. And then when with the horse, like when the horse dies, oh my god, can we just that's when I texted you. I was like, this is not gonna be a happy book.
Yeah.
He's 33. And then when he's imprisoned, he's 35.
Okay.
So as he's talking to the vampire telling his story, he's currently 35.
Okay.
But everything that happened with Chloe on their adventure when they met back up, he's 33
So he's 33 currently where we're at right now.
in the
Basically.
story. Yes. Yes. He's 33. Um, correct. And then Saoirse is 19. I'm assuming Chloe's around the same age. And the boy is 14.
I didn't realize he was so young. I knew he was young, but I didn't realize how young he was.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's because when he finds them kissing in the woods, he was like, "Isn't he a little young for you?" Like, and she's like, "Well, I'm 19," and he's like, "You like 14-year-olds?" It's just
I do remember that,
it's
yes.
it seems like a very big gap,
Oh,
like
yeah.
14 to 19, even though it's only like 5 years.
Yeah.
Like, 20 to 25 is not a big deal. 25 to 30 is not a big deal, but 14 and 19.
Yeah. No, yeah.
So, but yes, I had to go back. Like, there is no way I could have caught all that if I were listening to the audiobook. Like, I had to go back and, like,
Map it out.
oh, yeah, there's no way.
Cool.
There's no way.
So you're going with the ritual. That's what's
I'm thinking that there's going to be some sort of spell thing happening, like some sort of acid rain come from the sky. I don't know, but you know what I mean. Like
yeah.
something is going to happen where, like,
But there's got to be something tying in with his special blood
yeah,
that is so significant to all of
yeah,
us.
yeah. Uh, or they're able to harness his blood as a weapon, like you said, and that's what they use. Like, I'm really. I also have another theory that them going to the monastery, I think that's a really bad plan, in my opinion, because they're keeping his what he is a secret, and now they want to go to the one place that essentially you can't have a voice. Like, I don't know. I I don't know who said it. I think it was Gabe who was like, "Wait, you want to take him back to the monastery?" Like, and
Yeah.
she's like, "Well, they're going to have to listen to us." And I'm like, "Really? Like, these are people that beat you if you if you spoke."
Yeah.
And like, so I don't know. I'm wondering, okay, theory. I'm wondering if when they get to the monastery, if the reason he's the last silver saint is because the monastery turns against and no one believes them. And so Gabe has to slay everybody to keep the boy safe.
Yeah, but there's more than just them at the monastery. Like they're spread out, right? They can't be like in all of the world.
I think. Oh, you mean like Silver
Like how?
Saints?
Yeah, there's got to be more of them somewhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I'm wondering, like, what happens? Why is he the only Silver Saint?
Because like if all of them were really all in one place, why wouldn't all of the vampires gather together to kill all the Silver Saints? Like
It.
there's got to be spread out.
You're right. Okay. So another theory that I just thought of is because his blood lineage is so dangerous, I guess, or so uh, special. I'm wondering if, like you mentioned, if one, like, if the lineage dies, like if you kill one vampire, like if you killed an ancient, like everything dies. I wonder if that's the same for like Dompiers because they technically have vampire blood, and so I wonder if that's why all the Silver Saints die as well.
But then how would he exist?
Right, and that's what I'm wondering. I'm wondering if it's because maybe he exists because his father, like his father has to be killed technically, right?
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if he exists because, like, maybe he's the only one. Maybe his
So
father
his
had.
father's hiding.
Well, no, his father's already dead.
So then it would kill him then.
Well, but he's already dead, but not by the boy's blood.
Uh,
You see what I'm saying?
yeah, a little, but I'm not. I don't know.
So I'm curious, like, when they do this, like, if they do this, like, ritual thing, like, to kill all cold bloods, I wonder if the Silver Saints die too because they have vampire blood in them, and maybe he survives because something happens in the book. Maybe he has to drink the boy's blood or something. Like, maybe he gets, like, super, maybe they go into battle and he gets super wounded, so the boy has to heal him, and that makes him immune.
Wouldn't boy's blood kill him?
Oh, yeah. That doesn't work then. I don't know. I don't know. It's just a theory.
Yeah. Well, we will keep reading and find out.
Yeah.
So the next like round of this is
Hmm.
going to be over on Gabby's channel on November 2nd. Please come join us if you have thoughts
Yes.
on this one. Um, it should be a lot of fun. So
Yeah.
thank you guys all for tuning in and joining, and we will see you in our next one.
Yes. Bye, guys.
Bye.